The iPhone 13 and the Pixel 6 are the two most important autumn phone releases. Now that we've extensively tested both phones, including head-to-head photographic competitions, it's time to see who comes out on top in the Google Pixel 6 versus iPhone 13 showdown. It's a really difficult competition. With a fast processor, notable camera enhancements, and a larger battery that tackles one of the iPhone 12's few shortcomings, the iPhone 13 continues to set the benchmark for smartphones. The Pixel 6, on the other hand, is unlike any previous Google phone before it, but it still delivers the same excellent photo experience you've come to expect from Google. Both the iPhone 13 and Pixel 6 have unique designs and displays, and Google's new Tensor processor is a fascinating alternative to Apple's A15 Bionic chipset. But, in the end, this is a contest about how the two best camera phones on the market compare in terms of images. Price and availability of the Google Pixel 6 versus iPhone 13. The Google Pixel 6 is cheaper than the iPhone 13 despite the fact that the price of Google's phone varies depending on where you buy it. The Pixel 6 will set you back $599 in most places, including Google and carriers such as T-Mobile. Because their versions of the phone work with their respective high-speed 5G networks, Verizon and AT&T charge extra. Apple iPhone 13 vs. Google Pixel 6, Design. In the case of the Pixel, Google has made a significant departure from its previous design aesthetic. Pixels have always been a bit of a bare-bones affair. The Pixels have stayed with a muted style except from certain odd colors, including blue, orange, and pink. The Pixel 6 defies the trend entirely, with a horizontal camera bar that runs the length of the phone, separating two color options. Black, sage, and coral are among the color possibilities for the Pixel 6. The Pixel 6's camera bar is distinctive, however it protrudes from the rear of the phone, adding to the phone's thickness. As a result, the iPhone 13 is 1/10 of an inch slimmer. On the plus side, the Pixel 6 doesn't wobble when you set it on its back because that bar runs the length of the phone. The iPhone 13 has a minor wobble due to the camera array in the upper left corner. The iPhone 13's design is similar to that of the iPhone 12, with a few notable modifications. To begin with, Apple claims that the notch on this year's iPhones is 20% smaller. Instead of stacking the cameras on top of one another, the back camera array uses diagonally opposed lenses. The notch on the iPhone 13 is smaller, but it still stands out more than the front camera cutout at the top center of the Pixel 6's 6.4-inch display. That means Google's phone will have more continuous screen real estate. The Pixel 6 has an under-display fingerprint sensor, which some Pixel owners have complained about since it takes a long time to register your fingerprint. Despite this, iPhone 13 owners do not have a fingerprint sensor and must rely on Apple's Face ID technology to unlock their devices. Face ID is fast, dependable, and secure, but it's useless when you're wearing a mask. Display comparison: Google Pixel 6 vs. iPhone 13. The Google Pixel 6 vs. iPhone 13 specs comparison shows that Google's phone has a larger screen, 6.4 inches versus 6.1 inches on the iPhone. Apple, on the other hand, has a higher resolution. However, Google's phone has another advantage: the Pixel 6 has a 90 Hz refresh rate. While this isn't as quick as some flagship phones, such as the Pixel 6 Pro's 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate, it beats the iPhone 13's 60 Hz refresh rate. The Pixel 6 offers a more immersive experience with smoother scrolling than the iPhone 13 Pro models, as Apple only implemented adaptive refresh rates to the iPhone 13 Pro models. The iPhone 13's OLED display, on the other hand, is still a joy to see. It's also a little more vibrant than the Pixel 6, recording 110.2% of the sRGB color spectrum versus 100.9% for the Pixel 6. The iPhone 13 is also somewhat more accurate, with a Delta E rating of 0.26 versus 0.28 for the Pixel 6. The colors are more accurate the closer they are to zero. Because there isn't much of a difference between these two displays, the Pixel 6's higher refresh rate takes the win. Google Pixel 6 is the winner. Cameras: Google Pixel 6 vs. iPhone 13. The camera hardware on both the iPhone 13 and the Pixel 6 is significantly different. Apple used a larger main lens for the iPhone, which allows in 47% more light than the iPhone 12. The ultra-wide-angle camera's low-light performance has improved, and it now captures more of the backdrop than before. Whether I took photos in good or terrible light, the selfie camera on the Pixel 6 consistently failed me. And believe me, the lighting in this self-portrait is terrible. Because of the Pixel 6's preference for cold hues and over-smoothing, my face appears unnaturally smooth and characteristics like my beard and baseball cap are subdued. The iPhone 13's rendition is excessively warm. Will blame the dim illumination on my far too red face, but it's more accurate than the Pixel 6's. While the photo comparisons tell the most of the story, we can't overlook the distinct photo editing options that each phones provide. The iPhone 13 has a cinematic mode for video recording, which allows the emphasis to bounce back and forth between foreground and background objects. It's a really cool effect. Meanwhile, the Pixel 6 adds useful features like Magic Eraser, which lets you easily remove people who have drifted into your photo, and Motion Mode, which lets you add creative blur into action shots. Performance and 5G on the Google Pixel 6 versus iPhone 13. For the Pixel 6, Google made a splash by ditching Qualcomm's Snapdragon system on chip in favor of its own Tensor chip. The Tensor chip has its own tensor processing unit that handles a lot of the activities that would normally go through the CPU, since Google wanted to put more emphasis on machine learning for the silicon powering its phone. As a result, the Pixel 6 has a lot of onboard intelligence, as we'll see in the software portion of this Google Pixel 6 versus iPhone 13 comparison. Battery life and charging on the Google Pixel 6 versus iPhone 13. The Pixel 6 has a 4614 mAh battery, and while we don't know the exact size of the iPhone 13's battery, Apple has indicated that it will be larger than the iPhone 12. In Apple's case, the move paid out. On our battery test, the iPhone 13 lasted 10 hours and 33 minutes while surfing the web over 5G before it ran out of juice. That's not only faster than the average smartphone, but it's also 2 hours faster than the iPhone 12. The Pixel 6 did not have the same luck. When we tested over T5G Mobile's network, we only got 8 hours and 13 minutes. For a phone, that's below average. Note that when we tested on an LTE network specifically, Verizon's the Pixel 6 did significantly better, clocking in at 10 hours and 52 minutes, which is on par with the iPhone 13. We believe the discrepancy is due to Google's phone using an earlier 5G modem, which reduces power efficiency while connected to 5G. The iPhone 13's greater performance and photos that were somewhat better than the Pixel 6's proved to be the decisive factors. We also like how long the iPhone 13 lasts on a charge and how fast it charges in real life. However, the Pixel 6 outperformed previous Google phones in areas where they have historically fallen short. This is Google's best-looking phone ever, and the display's quicker refresh rate gives it an advantage over the iPhone that Apple must address in future devices. Because of all the smart software features that are now feasible with the Pixel 6, Google's decision to the Tensor processor was also a wise move. Overall, the Pixel 6 is the finest Android phone for the money, and it may even be the best flagship phone. However, in our analysis, the iPhone 13 is the better overall phone.